judges struck 2 petitions and consolidated 7 others because they raised similar issues and sought the same orders. The court also rejected 3 applications, including a request by Mr. Ruto, who sought to bar the Law Society of Kenya from the case. The court has set out 9 issues of determination that will shape the final ruling set to be delivered on the 5th of September. Veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga rejected the election result, saying the announcement was unlawful. He cited divisions among the 7 electoral commissioners and the commission chairman Wafula Chebukati's failure to explain how he arrived at the final tally. Mr. Chebukati declared Mr. Ruto as Kenya's president-elect, saying he garnered 7.1 million votes against Mr. Odinga 6.9 million votes. The court, which held a preliminary hearing on Tuesday morning, has adjourned and will resume later in the afternoon to consider several issues raised by lawyers. The court will proceed to full hearing from Wednesday. Moving on to Ethiopia, the United Nations says its efforts to deliver humanitarian aid in the embattled northern Ethiopian region of Tigray has been suspended after fresh fighting broke out last week. The renewed violence, currently concentrated in neighboring Amhara region, is worsening the crisis amid calls for de-escalation. The UN says that aid delivery by road transport into Tigray has not been done since mid-last week. Flights transporting aid workers have also been suspended and operational cash is not being delivered. However, aid that had already been delivered is being distributed. Meanwhile, a team of international human rights experts set up by the UN to probe allegations of abuse in Ethiopia has said it is outraged about the renewed hostilities. The team has added its voice to other international groups calling for violence to stop. And moving on, the United Kingdom Chancellor Nadim Zahawi is traveling to the United States later for talks on how to tackle the spiraling cost of living. During what could be his final week in the job, Mr. Zahawi will meet U.S. bankers and officials to seek international solutions to soaring costs. Labour has criticized the trip, saying he should be focusing on the United Kingdom. The 2 candidates for Prime Minister have signalled they will offer more help if elected on the 5th of September. The government has been accused of not doing enough to help people cope with the crisis, amid warnings that people are facing a dire winter with rocketing energy bills. Many people are having to make tough choices, such as skipping meals, while others are dreading the colder months. Both Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, one of whom will be announced as the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, have pledged further support, though neither has given details. And also, the first shipment of grain from Ukraine to Africa since the war began has docked in Djibouti. The MB Brave Commander is carrying 23,000 tons of Ukrainian wheat that is bound for neighboring Ethiopia, which is in desperate need of food aid. It took 2 weeks to travel here from southern Ukraine, according to a reporter. This wheat is meant to feed 1.5 million people in Ethiopia for a month, but it is not enough for a country facing several humanitarian challenges. Ukraine and Russia reached a deal with Turkey and the UN last month to open a corridor for allowing food shipments. Ethiopia, along with other countries in the region, is experiencing a prolonged drought that, as well as the continued civil war in the northern Tigray region, has left some 20 million people in need of food assistance. And in the Middle East, at least 23 people have been killed in some of the worst fighting for years in Iraq's capital, Baghdad, sparked by a key leader's decision to quit politics. Gunshots and rocket fire rang out as supporters of Shia Muslim cleric Muqtada al-Assad clashed with security forces and militias aligned with Iran. Mr. Sadr has ordered all his supporters to withdraw from outside parliament, where they have been protesting for weeks. Iraq has been in a state of paralysis since inconclusive elections in 2021. The violence began on Monday after Mr. Saad, one of Iraq's most influential figures, said he was withdrawing from political life. His bloc won the most seats in October's elections, but could not agree with the formation of a new government with the second largest bloc comprised mainly of Iran-backed parties. Once an Iranian ally, Mr. Assad has repositioned himself as a nationalist, wanting to end U.S. and Iranian influence over Iraq's internal affairs. The fighting has been taking place between Mr. Assad's militia, known as the Peace Brigades, a militia supported by Iran, and members of the Iraqi security forces. Still moving on to Asia, Pakistan is facing a monsoon on steroids, according to the UN Secretary General, after floods submerged a third of the country. Antonio Guterres urged the world to come to Pakistan's aid as he launched a $160 million appeal to help the tens of millions affected in the disaster. He blamed the relentless impact of epochal levels of rain and flooding. At least 1,136 people have been killed since June, and roads, crops, homes, and bridges are washed away across the country. This year's record monsoon is comparable to the devastating floods of 2010, the deadliest in Pakistan's history, which left more than 2,000 people dead. In a video message, Mr. Guterres called South Asia a climate crisis hotspot where people were 15 times more likely to die from climate impact. He said the UN appeal aimed to provide 5.2 million people with food, water, sanitation, emergency education, and health support. Officials estimate that more than 33 million Pakistanis, 1 in 7 people, have been affected by the flooding. Well, that brings us to the end of this evening's news update. Thank you for watching. I remind you of the Karamoja Cry. It's a project under the Bucket Project here at the Robert Kayanja Ministries. We invite you to come and join us as we deliver food relief to the people of Karamoja. The people of Karamoja are dying of hunger. They are people that are our own. They are Ugandans like us, and they are suffering from bad hunger. Records last month indicated that over 1,000 people had died of hunger in Karamoja. So we couldn't sit back and watch as our own were dying in our face. That's why we came together and are calling upon you to deliver food relief to Karamoja. We have so far delivered over 10,000, over 70,000 tons of food relief to Karamoja. That was taken by our team in the past weeks. This week, our aim is to deliver another 100,000 tons of food relief. Please join us. We are delivering 50 kilograms of food to every household in Karamoja. The 50 kilograms is fortified meal that contains maize flour, rice flour, oats, millet flour, sugar, milk, carrot, pumpkin seeds, among others, that will help rejuvenate and revamp the people of Karamoja as they get back on their feet. Send your seeds to the number that will be delivered or that will be displayed on your screen during the services, or you can come and give it to the pastor himself during the different services here at the Miracle Center Cathedral. Your life will be tremendously blessed as you will have fed the Lord himself. I remain Mercy Gashegu Sembatia. I also remind you that tomorrow is Wednesday. We are having our midweek service here at the Miracle Center Cathedral. Come and join us. Come and worship with us, and let us enjoy the presence of God. Bring the sick, bring the lame, bring all those that need the hand of God. Surely his presence is with us, and no one will leave the same. God bless you. Enjoy your evening.